All right, guys, it's exciting to meet you,
Oh,
and we're excited to learn about your businesses.
yeah, I give maybe some context. Yeah, great to meet you guys as well. I think I chatted to Jack through the Slack DMs. But yeah, high level, me and Ryan run a company called Clover. We help companies like mass distribute, like kind of growth hack using like SEO and AI video. And Ryan and I work with Forplay and a couple other companies to help them do that.
Wait. Sorry, I just learned about echoes, but there's another one called mass distribute as well.
No, it's called Echo. It's just what we do. We just mass distribute content.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you
Awesome.
do that?
Well, I mean, there's obviously we can get into like the product spec, but like I think just high level for context of the viewers, like Clover is kind of our holding company / venture studio. Our whole goal and premise is to be the growth kind of suite powering some of the fastest growing companies. And so we're kind of doing that through, a portfolio of companies. We have 2 right now. There'll be 2 more that will probably come over the next year or 2. But yeah, we're just kind of really powering companies across different areas. One company right now is focused on inbound SEO, LLM optimizations, and then one is kind of in the social media organic content space.
And so let's just take any one of them. Let's take the like LLM SEO optimization. So is the idea like I would buy? Is it a tool or is it a service that I'm buying?
Right now, it's a service. Yeah, combines kind of a lot of tech we built in house, but because it is quite premium right now, we're working with brands on like kind of a service level.
Okay, sweet. Okay, and so I hire you guys, and then I forget about it? Like, do I say like, hey, you guys worry about increasing how much traffic comes through and how much buying intent comes through on SEO and LLM search, or yeah, I guess help me understand like what is the promise that you're giving? Is it the outcome? Is it some sort of in between metric? Like, what is your ideal version of why someone is buying you?
I think there's like 3 buckets. So there's like impressions, which is like just there's blog posts or Reddit posts going out, like just Reddit impressions there that exist. So some people just care about that. Others care more about the SEO side. And so right now, blog posts and Reddit posts are ranking quite highly across SEO and LMs. And so like you can obviously track that as well. And then the last part is just general ranking of like domain. So if someone searches up a certain keyword, you want to be the one that's ranked up the highest.
But at the end of the day, it's like kind of like maybe address like the initial point is like everyone comes in with different goals, whether it's they want to grow top of funnel awareness, whether they want to increase their bottom funnel conversions. Maybe their competitors are really active in either the SEO, LM kind of rankings. So everyone has a different goal. So we consider what their objectives are. At the same time, we'll do a deep dive on the entire space. So as far as SEO goes, LMs goes, Reddit goes, what's kind of the opportunities that are happening right now, which kind of pieces of content are being picked up. And based on that kind of deep dive, we're able to figure out and come up with a game plan of what will be the best course of action forward to sort of solve their goals. So it is case by case, which is why like the service kind of does happen for best results. But yeah, what Matt kind of spoke about is kind of what usually follows.
I should say, Rashad, we're also customers at Foreplay, and they're crushing it. They're doing so many things right. Like if you look at it from the service business point of view, they're ticking all the boxes. They've got ownership. You can kind of set and forget, not think about it, and they'll keep going. There's transparency. If something goes wrong, they let you know straight away. You don't have to find that something's gone wrong, like posts getting taken down off of Reddit, which just, I think, lets you trust your service providers, right? That nothing's getting hidden. And then on the software side of things, it's really hard to measure organic, right? We were talking to Oliver from Tabs and Bustum not too long ago about putting a chart that represents the value that you provide to the business into your software product. They're sort of similar to you, actually. They're like a blend of service and software.
Yeah.
And you guys figured it out for one of the hardest things to measure, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the problem, like Reddit, I was just saying Reddit like has always been a channel that has been relevant for brands. People go to these communities to talk about their problems. They're asking questions. Like it's one of the most high intent platforms, but for marketers and for brands, it's been impossible to scale up any efforts there and to kind of capture what's happening. So obviously like attribution is tough in itself. But that's kind of like one of the pieces we want to come in and help out with.
Dude, I didn't use Reddit very much before you guys, and now that we're working with you guys, I don't use it at all. I'm like, all of this is drivel, none of it's real. I'm not paying any attention to it.
What's interesting though is I feel like Reddit used to be such like a, I don't know, such a different platform than it is now in terms of who's using it. Like my wife sends me links to things on Reddit, and she's not the like the the typical person that would have been using Reddit 10 years ago. It's the demographics
Yeah.
have really shifted. It's very different now than it used to be.
We have customers on the calls that say like, are buyers really looking at Reddit posts? Like, are they really in these communities? And we've had like Fortune 500 CEOs tell us that they've been an avid Reddit user every single day. So you never know who's actually looking. But at the same time, even if you aren't looking, the relevance that Reddit has across the other channels like Google and like ChatGPT is a big reason why people even are interested, because that's kind of influencing what's happening over there. But yeah, every kind of product, every kind of space, conversations are happening. It's one of those things that you don't really know until you see it.
How big is the company? Like, how big is your guys' holdco company?
We have about 42 people full time. We started 6-7 months ago.
You said 42 people?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you started 6 months ago?
That's split across like different companies. So there are folks who are kind of like Clover focused that work across the company. So a lot of our marketers work across companies. We do have some engineers that are specific to each company. Customer success is obviously going to be specific to each company. So yeah, we're still kind of planning to build out more of the team. So we're not even close to done with that, but it's moved very quickly.
Got it. And how did you capitalize? Is it off of revenue, or did you raise, or what did you guys do?
We most just did referrals and outbound as our only go-to-market motion at the moment.
Oh, no. How did you capitalize the business? Like, where did the money come from to hire these 40 people?
Me and Ryan sold a company to private equity about 1.5 years ago, and it was kind of funneled a lot of the capital from that.
Wow, got it. So you self-funded it, basically.
We had a couple angels, but most of it's self-funded.
Are you profitable at this point? Or are you still funding it?
No, we're extremely profitable.
Nice. That's awesome.
Why choose this structure?
Why the kind of holding company approach? Or
Yeah, I mean, the end goal is kind of what Ryan said. Like, we just want to help companies grow really quickly. And so, what was interesting is that we had, like, the second product, for example, got to $200K a month within the first 3 days, just from cross-selling the initial customer base, and with zero marketing. And so, what's interesting is that with the portfolio approach, you have the ability to then just cross-sell, upsell, downsell existing customers, and we attack different channels per product. So the first one obviously tracks like Reddit, SEO, blogs. Second one attacks like TikTok, Instagram, short form content.
I also think for me, and this, I know Matt thinks the same way, but in terms of like, there's a lot of sort of synergies that like you can build a core team that can fulfill and work on similar kind of pieces of the puzzle. And so like similar to kind of, I previously worked at a venture studio where like over a year I worked with 20 different companies. And we kind of learned that like you can build these internal teams that can build many companies as long as there's a focused effort within kind of your role. And at the end of the day, I believe we can grow quicker by having like new product offerings. So we're always going to continue to go deeper onto that company. But the more we can have more offerings, the more we can kind of basically make sure there's like an infinite LTV across our client base. So that's kind of our hypothesis. Like most companies want to build $1 billion company. We want to build $1 billion portfolio and just grow onto that over time.
Maybe the other side of that is, why not just have products underneath one company? Like why create this structure? Like illustratively, like Atlassian. Atlassian is a single company that has multiple products that are like quite disparate, right? So like, why not just have it be different products owned by one company?
I think it's mostly the optionality for like acquisitions on like per company basis is interesting. Even like moving entities, it's like mostly just legal structures. Like, it's no like real like rhyme or reason. It's just like even like moving cash between entities is like a little bit better from that purpose alone. So by having it in one entity, you have the limitations there.
Yeah, I think the exit optionality is really good. Yeah, it's also like the exit optionality is a huge thing. And so obviously like we want to continuously reinvest into ourselves to create these new companies. And yeah, I think if we were to maybe exit one or two down the line, who knows, it would be a lot more complicated. We don't want to sell Clover ever. So that kind of internal vehicle that we built is lifelong. And by having the different companies, we can be more flexible, like Matt said.
I really like it from a go-to-market point of view as well. You have products that are clearly branded after what they do. And I think if you just think about the consumer in this space, what are they more likely to do? Continue to upgrade to different products at the same provider after, whatever the core reason they adopted your software was, or opt into different products that are pointed and solve a particular problem. And this is one of the things that they talk about on the operators when they're talking about SaaS. They're like, what does this SaaS do? Because eventually it gets so bloated and does so many things that you look at it and you're like, what does the thing actually do? All right.
Yeah, you're so right.
Right.
And it's that each of these companies will have their own kind of like go-to-market systems. We use the same systems across them. But for example, if it's cold outreach or paid ads, like the hook or the reason that someone would hop on a call with us is going to be for one of those problems that they solve. They may not have the same problems. They may not treat each problem the same. And so if we can kind of be relevant for that, we can bring them in, we can provide value. And if they are a good fit, we can introduce them to the others is kind of the way we see it going.
Got it. Yeah, Jack, I think like it's so interesting. This is like a perpetual debate that is like highly market cycle dependent. So like one learning for us at least who sell in, because you guys sell to like you guys can sell to anyone, right? So you're not really vertical dependent. Jeremiah and I sell mostly to commerce companies, and then actually Foreplay can also sell to anyone who advertises. So right, Jack, is that a fair?
Yeah, we even have a cohort of people that just use Foreplay because they love ads. So yeah, there's a wide town.
That's wild. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but so an anecdote from the commerce world is that right now there's a massive consolidation cycle happening. So like it's like a well-known thing that across sort of there are a few main MarTech players. So Attentive, Klaviyo, Yapo used to be in the market. They're no longer. Postscript, but there's massive consolidation happening. And so people who used to have, for example, Attentive for SMS and Klaviyo for email are consolidating onto one. And so I guess like how do you guys think about market like best in class versus consolidation plays as you think about your portfolio construction and how to mostly because of like bundling, right? But the reason consolidation works is because of bundle pricing. Like how do you guys think about that as you cross-sell other products from other companies into the customer?
Yeah, I think like that's kind of our goal here is we want to be the ones to provide these services across what we do. And so there are going to be some incentives for, one client number one, who's a client of one of the companies, to start with number two. So whether it means giving like extended free trials or lower price to kind of get started, we do want to provide those incentives to be as helpful as we can across what they do. And so on the back end, we're actually building this out shortly with like a team of kind of account executives, but really we want to make sure we're building a really strong relationship with these clients and are not pushing anything onto them, but are being aware of their problems. And we just want to really be as helpful as we can because we know we have value we can provide if they're in a position to capture that.
Jeremiah, do you guys do that across your different companies? Like, do you bundle across companies?
No. No, it's hard. At least in my experience, it's hard. I think it's actually way harder than I would expect. Unless somebody's actively in market, that's the only time. So when it does happen, so I should clarify. We do some, but it's if the customer's asking for it effectively, right? So if we are in a sales call to sell reviews to somebody, and they start talking about surveys, then that's a really easy opportunity to say, hey, you should go check out no commerce. But like that's typically guided by the customer. I think there's another world in which success could do that pretty well, but we still haven't been able to unlock that. Like we do success campaigns and we say, hey, go, try it. If you're in success, there you can get a bonus for cross-selling this other company's product.
Is it obvious it's underneath the same brand, like both products?
I mean, in those conversations, it is because we tell them. So just to give you guys a little bit of context, so I started a company called No Commerce Surveys. We sold to a holding company. The holding company is called Tiny. Tiny had
Andrew Wilkinson's?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're very familiar.
Yeah. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tiny owns the company that I co-founded. We sold in 2022. The year prior, they bought a company called Stamped. And so I just took over as CEO of Stamped as well. So I run No Commerce as CEO, and then Stamped. And then Stamped also has a product called Repeat. But I think there's a couple of challenges here. One, like different products under different company names is one barrier. But then also different teams is a secondary barrier here. And so I think both those things are hard solves. We get some cross-sell. We do get some bundling. We'll say, hey, we'll give you, 20% off if you sign up for this thing, for example. But it's proven to be much harder than I thought it would be to cross-sell in that regard. So I think there's a way to do it. We just haven't.
Do you think that's because, I guess for maybe our comparison is like we have our Clover, like kind of where companies meet in the middle. Do you think that it's hard because the incentives aren't there because they see themselves as, I'm part of this company? Like, is that where you think the challenge kind of lies? Obviously, there's a lot of like going deeper into each client, but what do you think is the main bottleneck for you?
Yeah, that's absolutely part of it, right? Like the incentives, you have to find the right incentive structure ultimately so that the individual person who's selling it, their manager, all the different players involved have some sort of benefit in cross-selling those things. So that is absolutely part of it. But I will say the other thing that's interesting is like most customers just don't care. They're coming to you for a specific thing. They want that thing and they just don't care about anything else. And I do think even companies, a single company that offers multiple products has that challenge as well. That's not necessarily like a different company challenge, but I see a lot of, even in the context where we offer multiple different products, if somebody comes in looking for a specific thing, there's work that needs to be done in terms of getting them to onboard to another set of features or another product within your ecosystem.
Dude, can I take the other side of that coin?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I take the other side of that debate? Yeah, I totally disagree. And I'll tell you a customer story, and then I'll tell you what we're observing internally. I was talking to a very large retail enterprise, okay? And they were talking about how actually roughly this exact situation where they have like an email vendor and an SMS vendor. And they were saying how one of those two just came to them every year for the past 3 years and was like, here's the benefits if you consolidate. Not in like a pushy way, but it's like, hey guys, you are not unlocking this because if you were to consolidate under one roof, I'm sure it's some orchestration benefit, right? Like I'm sure it's some obvious benefit, and you guys are not taking advantage of that. And then finally they were like, we kind of need to do this thing. And so this account management work where you just show the roadmap and the potential benefits of attaching all of your other products has real impact. Now, I'll tell you our story. We only 3 months ago did we have more than one product, and we started to attach the other products to our customer base. We never knew how to cross-sell anything prior to that. We have already attached at least one new product to a quarter of our book in like 2 months, right? And it is just a muscle you can build, and it is way easier than you think. Yeah.
I agree that there's value, to be clear. Like we do that. No in particular. Well, actually both Stamped and No, because different product sets do that. I guess from my standpoint, though, I think it's harder than, it's not just a, hey, everybody in success, go send this email to the person you work with or send them a message in Slack. Now have them do that thing, right? That doesn't happen. I think what you described is exactly the way it works, which is like, maybe it happens quickly, but also many times it's years of presenting these options and figuring out how to do that. But I am curious because I think like getting 25% of your customers to attach an additional product in 2 to 3 months, that is very fast in my opinion. 2 months, yeah. Do you think that there's something that you did in that process that was, I guess, like something that made that actually work that quickly?
No, I mean, dude, life is all about yeah, I'm a lead bullets guy. I have no silver bullets, and I certainly have no gold bullets. I got a shitload of lead bullets, and I just fire all of them. You know what I mean? And so it's like you annoy the account managers every day saying, do you have an account plan for all your accounts? And then you wake up the next morning and you do it again and again and again. And then you say, hey, in this account plan, like when would this next thing be useful? Hey, did you actually show them value of this next thing? Did you turn it on, like what these guys were talking about? Did you turn it on for free for some period of time so that way they can start to feel the value, so that we were creating like loss aversion as opposed to like potential future promise, right? Like, oh my God, I'm getting this value and I'm going to lose it, right? Like, I think it's just like an incredible number of lead bullets done all the time. Yeah. And you just have to decide you're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to do this at Foreplay. We have to. This is the only way that we can upsell our new products. We have to go down every single one of those roads. And we still have customers that will say to us, oh, I had no idea you guys had creative analytics, right? One of our oldest customers, right, said, oh, I had no idea that you had this. I was using this other option. I prefer what you guys have made. And then they now spend like $6K a month as opposed to $150 a month, right? And it wasn't that we hadn't done the marketing, it wasn't that we hadn't tried. It was just that they were busy doing what they do, right? Running an agency. I feel like it's a conversation that we had, Zach and I, about conditional probability. Are people more likely to opt into a standalone creative analytics product that's outside of having to opt into Foreplay first and then into, because like if you think about No, for example, me as a customer back when I was an agency, No was really easy for me to recommend. Whenever anybody said, oh, I want to know where my customers came from, I want to be able to have a survey at the end of the purchase, because I could attach that name to their query. I didn't even have to think about it. It's the first thing that came to me. But if No, and I know this isn't how the companies were structured, but if No was a product in Stamped, I'm not sure if I'd be able to retrieve it that quickly, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like Ryan and Matt have like mastered this, like once we start doing one thing, I mean, what did you guys say? You brought the second business up to 200K MRR like almost instantly by attaching it, right? Like I can't imagine that that's because you like you send one Slack message. Like you don't do that by sending one Slack message, I don't think.
You might be wrong on this one.
Like it wasn't it wasn't that hard. I'm not gonna lie.
I actually want to ask you, Rashab, in terms of, we're still kind of working on like what are going to be the activation points to bring up this next company, like what's the right cadence on that, like these are things we're all also experimenting with. What have you seen work well in terms of like have you guys built out a system or an approach internally that's quite structured behind this, or it's kind of as you go?
I'll tell you like my one operating rule that has worked extremely well, at least right now, while we're like trying to get things to happen really fast, is I run the company on a daily stand-up, and every day you have to show up and explain what progress you've made, which is why the lead bullets work, because you know that like now there's actually like accountability across the organization, so different people ask each other, which is what you kind of want to end up with. But early on, it was just me annoying everyone every day, and you just have that daily stand-up, and you just say like, hey, did we try this? Did we try this? Did we try this? Did we try this? What happened? Who was reacting? Why did they react this way? Right? And you just need cycle speed to be really fast. And the only way you get that cycle speed to be really fast is you're doing this daily stand-up. So, I mean, by the way, did you guys literally send out a Slack message and then get 200K of business instantly? Is that actually what happened?
I love that you came back
Yeah.
to that because I want to know too.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not gonna lie to you, pretty much, yeah. Because the
Okay,
second
and then did you send a
product-based stuff-
second? Did you
go ahead.
send a second Slack message and get another 200K?
No, we batched it, so we didn't send it to everybody in the first batch. We just sent it to the people that we thought would be good fits.
Also, one thing we're kind of experimenting with. Sorry, no, we honestly the initial batch was from like clients that we built a strong relationship with, clients that we think would be a good fit, and there was definitely resonance with it. We're also trying to figure out like when is the right time to introduce new clients to this other product. Is it mentioning it on the sales call? Not try and detract from the main goal of whatever company they opted in for. Is it on the sales call? Is it in the onboarding for that first company? And that's kind of like one thing we're thinking about. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts around that, but that's something
I think
I'm
about
actively playing with.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I promise I'm going to shut up after this. But I think an incredible amount about risk. So you have a point of view that your customer is going to benefit by doing X action. Your customer may not believe that. And so then the question is, whose job is it to take the risk? Is it your job? Is it your customer's job? Because underneath that dichotomy lives risk. And repeatedly what I have seen is the best companies take on the risk because they have more information than the customer and they are actually the expert. And you're underwriting it. So said differently, it kind of is like, you can call it a free trial, you can call it whatever you want, but there's risk that is being exchanged. And so the way that we are doing it is we're trying to be as aggressive as possible. So we're saying, we'll take the risk, meaning we'll just give you value. And so we'll show up one day and say, hey, did you know that you could get this value? And in fact, here is the value, whatever that shape takes for you. And you just turn it on for them. And then you say, would you like the keys to this value? And I can just hand you the keys if you sign up. And like, that is the most risk removing way of doing the sale. So Jack, I don't know what your guys' like second product is, but I would just show up with like, what is the report that user shows their boss and says, I just got this value for free. Do you want to keep getting this value? I need to swipe my card here.
I think that's well said.
Do you guys do any risk reversals at Clover?
Yeah, we focus a lot on like insights, like delivering insights. And so I think that what you're just saying is like insights, same thing as value of like, hey, here's something that might be interesting for you. Like, here's the reason why it would be interesting. Here's how we could help you kind of tap into this. And almost like you said, like making it so easy for them to just say yes and swipe the card. So that's like the initiative that we're willing to take on because we're confident in what we do. At the same time, we're also not going to just force that onto someone if they're still early, if they haven't built up enough of a relationship. So it's that fine balance of like being bold to take that risk, but also being conservative to not push it over the edge too soon.
I think one thing that's interesting too here, it sounds like you all are very hands-on with your customers, correct? Like it's a tool with a heavy service component. Yeah. And Rashad, that's the same for you with your business too. I think in my business, we don't talk to 90% of our customers. And so I think that's where, I shouldn't say we never talk to, but like we don't have like a regular relationship with 90% of our customers. They're just, if they need something, they send us a message in our help desk and that's kind of it. And Jack, I think you guys are a little bit more like that too.
Yeah.
So what I find is that it takes a lot of touch points with somebody in order to like lots of marketing messages, lots of time in order to get them to do something different because we don't have that person they trust that can just shoot them a message and say, hey, I think this would be really good for you. You should do this. There's some exceptions there, but again, for 90% of our customers, that's the case. So I think that's my experience, I think is because of that more than it is that this is a hard thing to do. The benefit of that is if you have a massive customer base and you can unlock that thing, then the scalability of that is really nice. But yeah, I don't know, Jack, what your experience is in terms of like attachment rates on new products and how long that takes. But I'm assuming you're not just like turning something on and getting 25% of your customers to opt into it immediately.
No, not at all. Yeah, I wish. That'd be awesome. It'd be really cool. It was a slow climb for our last product launch. Like it wasn't a day one 200K. It's definitely where we have like highest value customers now, but it took some time.
You guys have it where like it's on the sidebar too, right? Like you could switch between the product on the sidebar, and even then they're not like noticing. Oh my gosh, there's something new on the sidebar. I just
No.
completely ignoring it.
Do you know
Really?
what's interesting? We talked to some of our longest customers, right? Our oldest customers, and I don't know if they're overrepresenting, but none of them use more than the core product that they came in to buy, right? And we go, oh, you didn't even know about this. And it'll be older products, not even like our newest product. It'll be older products. And they go, oh, no, I never go there. I just do this, right?
People get blind. They just do the thing they came to do. And you have to, this is the other thing too, is like just putting a banner in front of somebody. Or I just did this today, actually. What was it? I logged into, Slack. I switched Slack workspaces and there was a little note about, I want to update my holiday thing. I clicked X before I even read it. Like I didn't even, I like what I was reading registered after I clicked the X. I clicked it so fast. And I think that's just how people end up being. And once you get used to a workflow, that's your approach to it. And it takes a significant amount of effort to get you out of that.
One thing as a customer of you guys that I really like is that, I don't know if this is your equivalent of daily stand-ups. It'd be awesome to hear what you guys are doing, but our account manager is super communicative, right? It reminded me of the agency days. You don't have to chase up someone to find out whether they're doing the work. We're getting a message like twice a week, start of the week, end of the week, which I think is so strong. I think it's so good because, back in when I was in the agency space, I think that your customer has two expectations of you. If your service, that you're doing a quantity of work and that the quantity of work that you're doing is delivering, right, an outcome, right? For example, in the marketing agency space, if you launched one ad 3 months ago and it was crushing it, but you just rested on that one ad for 3 months, 6 months, eventually your client is going to go, what's going on here? Yeah, okay, you launched one ad, it did very well, but why aren't you doing anything else? You just set and forget my account. Yeah, the fact that you have this sort of externalization, if that's a word, of like the stand-up of the report of the work performed, and then you have the charts to show the like outcomes of that work. I think it's so strong.
We appreciate that because that's taken a lot of time and effort to make sure. And the learning here was just always be one step ahead of the client. And I would rather over communicate and share the learnings and make them feel like we are, we didn't just kind of onboard them and see in a few months. So we want them to know what's happening. I think that's like, because we live in this space where we're kind of SaaS with a service behind it, we have to bring that, or else, like you said, I don't want someone coming to us saying, hey guys, like what's going on? That should never be a piece. We're still optimizing that. Matt in the early days spent a ton of time with our reps to kind of figure out that cadence. And so it's still ongoing, but Jeremiah, like you said, like you don't speak with a lot of clients, that's just kind of, I guess your business model is more one end of the spectrum. We're sort of more in the middle where we have to. So while we get to do that, like it is a lot of work and attention to detail and time and effort that goes into that. But yeah, it's super important.
I remember when I was in agency, I had this, I was consulting for a handful of like mom and pop agencies. And this one, it was like founded by this guy who used to work at Google. So that was the whole USP. I used to work at Google. I know exactly how it works. Let's run your Google ads. And one of the girls at this agency, she was like, oh, I don't know why I have to, do these retention calls with clients. I'm not here for retention. It's like, actually, the only reason you join a call every week with this customer is to keep them around for as long as possible, to extend their LTV to the company. Your whole job is retention. And obviously, part of that is driving the performance, but another part of it is being everything that they expect from a person who handles their account, right?
Can we touch on the daily stand-up thing real quick, Rishab? Because I know you talked about this, posted about it. I'm curious how that actually functions. You said company-wide daily stand-up. Is that correct? So you literally get everybody in the company on a call every morning. No? Okay.
Sorry, so basically there are business units. So we have like my co-founder does the product pods and then I do the go-to-market pods. And so like for our business, we have like an agency segment, a mid-market segment, and then an enterprise segment. We don't serve SMB at all anymore. So like I basically go through and then every day for the like quote unquote full funnel, we like try to understand where we're bottlenecked, where do we make progress, things like that. And then the same thing happens on the product side. And so uh and that happens in the morning and then the rest of the day is empty. And so what happens is if something comes up that people need to discuss further or need to figure out because they need to talk to someone else, they just do that same day. Yeah, so that's like roughly what the structure is.
So they're like like 5 to 15 person stand-ups where everybody's got the ability to actually like weigh in and provide updates.
I like that actually. Like we don't do that
Yeah.
every day, but something I'm trying to do is, and like the theme there is like you're front loading the decision making. And so when you are early in the day, you have more brain power to make those decisions. Something that I'm even trying to figure out just for myself is like, can you make those decisions on the weekends per se, where like you have time to slow down and make these decisions, and then have the week for just pure executing? So there's different things that I think Matt and I are going to test, but it kind of goes with the theme of like, let's chime in now to figure out what are the right decisions, and then we have our time to execute. Otherwise, you're just caught between the decision-making brain, the execution brain, and then you don't actually get anywhere.
Yeah, for me, like execution is more brainless, right? For most of us, I would imagine. And so it's like I would rather front load like thinking, collaboration, decision making. Just do it. I literally do it between 8 and 9 a.m. So like my stand-ups are 15 minutes each. It's done by 9. And then I have actually the entire day for execution.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
You guys heard about 10-80-10? I think it kind of follows that pattern as well. If you can give that, no?
Let's hear it.
Oh, you haven't heard of 10-80-10? Oh, it's this idea that you give 10% of like direction at the start, 80% is leverage, and then 10% at the end to ensure that it's meeting your expectation, right? So if you can kind of structure your days in a 10-80-10 fashion where you start the day with direction, 80% of the day is leverage, whether it's you executing or the entire team executing. And then at the end of the day, you could also have a end of day stand up or just review what was said that was going to get done. Because you can't do everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm personally trying to implement for myself. I guess you just put a nice kind of title to it. So thank you for that.
I wish I could take credit, but someone told me.
You brought it up in discussion, so I'll give you that.
It's interesting. Just real quick, at Stamped, I like the way that especially on the product engineering side, the way that the team used to go about things was very much focused on big goals. So going after like this thing that would take a long period of time to get to months to go and push this thing out into the wild. And so I've been really trying to undo a lot of that. And so the last couple of weeks, we've been really focused on daily progress. And it's not exactly the same way that you're doing it, Rashad, but just focusing on like what are wins that we can get out quickly. And it's incredible to see just how much has happened in 2 weeks of doing that compared to months of doing things in more of a chasing bigger outcomes without as much visibility into what happened. And even just like, I don't even know I think the output of work is a little bit higher, but even if the output's not higher, just being able to see the progress creates momentum and energy that wouldn't exist without being able to see that progress.
It also just creates the awareness.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that we only have so much like conscious focus at a time, and you're probably only focusing on a few things. And so unless you're putting your attention, which I think that exercise forces people to think about those goals that maybe they would kind of go autopilot to. I think it's a good forcing function for sure.
Yeah, I think most people are terrible at staying focused. Really, really bad. And if you let them, they'll be incredible people who are super scattered and getting absolutely nothing done. So yeah, you got to find ways to,
including
stop that.
myself, if I'm honest. So.
Right.
One of
You know
the
your day-
easiest things too, like something that I was even thinking of, like doing this for team members, is like, what's the one thing that you could do that day that if you completed it end to end would be the biggest value driver? Like, what's your 80-20? And hold yourself accountable to finishing that thing. Like, don't get 80% of the way there. Don't get 90% of the way there. Don't go to like 2 other projects. Like, and if you stack that over day, you're probably going to go much faster than if you were working on a few things at once. Oh, this didn't get done. This needs to be approved. I think that's super underrated. Just make a Google sheet, like date, main kind of 80-20 task, status, and it should be like a checkbox.
If you just even think about like dopamine, right? Like a daily small dopamine hit is going to be way better than like a big one every once a month even. That, I mean, effectively you launch something really cool, 2 days later, you don't care about it anymore. You're already on to the next thing. If you can actually be getting that multiple times a week, that's going to have a lot more value.
If you want to be super extra and make like a chart, like turn that data into a graph, like if you really wanted to, like we're talking like stuff you did when you were kids or something. Like, I really think if you dumb things down, it can go a long way.
Yeah. Jeremiah, I mean, yeah, no one here needs opinions, but I'll share one anyway. If I found the reason why I did the daily stand-up, which is super important actually, is I was trying to get the team to focus on shifting to selling to enterprises over like SMB and mid-market. So, but I couldn't get the behavior to change, even though I like said the same things over and over again, until I changed how the day felt for everyone. And that's actually why I made the change. It was not like I had some view that this daily stand-up was a good idea. I was just like, I have to break their pattern because their pattern is what enables the habit and the behavior. And so I was like, I got to do anything to do that pattern break, but I have to do it fast enough. And so if you're describing something that your EPD team is like very used to, I will tell you that whether or not you like a daily stand-up, anything that you can do to break the pattern of the entire company will reinforce the most strongly that we need to shift how we operate, because you have all of a sudden changed how their day feels. And when you do that, they become more open to shifting the behavior. And that's actually the single most important thing, is like driving the org change is so painfully difficult. I mean, like you guys have 40 people. I'm sure at this point, it's like 40 people is a lot of people to get to like change anything. Like once you're past 30, it's just like everything gets hard in terms of like people,
I think it's mostly like
people
communication.
direction. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like communication, like vision is like harder to communicate now. So when I was like 5 or 15, it's like easier to like share information and everyone kind of knows. But now it's like to get to like the layer that needs to get to, you have to go so far deep.
I like that though. You're putting people into like this state of adaptation, right? I'm in a new
Yeah.
environment. I've got to adapt to it. How do I adapt appropriately to this?
I think what
new
I've
everyday?
noticed that people have to step up as like true owners. So if you look at it like organizational structures, like you have to tell someone to maybe like, again, I still tell the same information to 6 people, but those 6 people now have like even like a duty or responsibility to then share that high level vision or goal to like everyone else. And even recently started to do like monthly stand-ups, like town halls, we call them. And we still have like weekly kind of check-ins and stuff on a per team basis, which I've noticed has helped a lot with like just cadences across the board.
I like that. Like trying to get people to feel like owners, because you can imagine there's, for somebody who doesn't feel like an owner, they probably approach the work that they're doing very differently to somebody who has, a sense that they're building something meaningful.
Something that I like for me that I really want to focus on and that we do focus on at Clover is like make sure everyone knows, 1, where the company is going, and then 2, their part in that direction. So they need to know like where we're going and like what's my role within this vehicle. And if any one of those is kind of out of sync, then their output, their satisfaction, their connection to the team, the culture is going to be off. And so we use those monthlies to kind of refine the vision, make sure everyone knows what's coming next, and then those one-on-ones to make sure everyone knows their part. And then, yeah, as we get bigger now, like Matt said, we're going to have kind of department leads host their one-on-ones with folks, because it would be a lot for us to do every single week. But yeah, that's super important.
What's the next product? What are you guys thinking of doing next? Can you say?
Like in product number 3, basically.
Right.
We have ideas, but nothing is yet
Nothing's locked
to
in.
be. Nothing's confirmed, but we have ideas. Maybe when we confirm that, we can hop on here again and tell you guys more. But yeah, we'll keep that a secret for now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need to drop, but it was awesome meeting you guys.
Likewise.
Guys.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks, guys.